Okay, so hi, welcome. Um, I'm gonna tell you guys a story today, and we're just gonna hop into it. Probably wondering who that beautiful natural blonde speaking to you is. Um, my name is Afia Abrafi. I am a senior political science major, African American studies minor, as well as pursuing a certificate in social work and social welfare. And I studied abroad in the Dominican Republic the summer of 2018. And I was also abroad spring 2020 in my motherland, Ghana, before the pandemic hit. Um, but I love study abroad regardless, and I still recommend it to everybody. So I'm happy you're tuning in, and I hope you enjoy my stories. So, I really thought I had it all figured out. I was going to study abroad on a program in a country where I would fit in. So, I was born in Ghana, November of 1999, and I migrated to the United States with my parents in April of 2001. So even though I didn't live in Ghana for long, my household was as Ghanaian as it can be. I mean, my government name is Afia Abrafi. And my parents were determined to make sure that their children knew their native tongue. So we only spoke Tree at home and spoke English only at school. Due to this, when I found out that I could go to Ghana and use my financial aid, I was all in. I also loved the intersection of political science courses, which is my major, with African history. In short, I was going to be in my comfort zone when it came to language, food, culture, and academics. Okay, so we're gonna talk about bad days abroad, but we're gonna try to be positive about it. So I'm gonna have a smile on my face. All right, let's get into it. So, like I had said earlier, I thought that I had cracked the case to study abroad. However, you can never be too prepared, and that's why IPO really makes sure that they help create a support system with you before you even get on your flight. So my first 2 weeks in Ghana were phenomenal. I was absolutely in love with my motherland and the dollar to city conversion. I got to see my grandmother, who I was named after for the first time in ages, and I had authentic Ghanaian food. In love is simply an understatement. I was out of this world, blown out of the water. As I was living my best life in Ghana, COVID-19 was beginning to claim victims by the thousands in the United States. As much as my parents were worried about me, I was worried about them. Um, at the moment, while I was abroad, I was in a country where there were less cases in the country than in my entire city that I lived in back home. So it was safe to say that I was fairly safe. My safety wasn't really my biggest concern at the time. My big concern was the safety of my loved ones because I couldn't be with them physically in that moment. As somebody who suffers with anxiety, I became extremely anxious about the situation back home. And then this anxiousness began to shift into negativity towards the situation I was in. And on top of that, I started to experience FOMO, or the fear of missing out. And it just felt like the world was going on without me, and there was absolutely nothing I can do about it. So nobody talks about these really bad days abroad, and I'm gonna talk about it today. So it was crazy to me because the more my anxieties settled in, the more apparent it became to me that I was different. So, as much as I fit in Ghana, I was very much American. There were things that I still have yet to become very comfortable with. The way that the classroom works and the way that women are treated in Ghana um, is just different from anything that I've ever experienced in the United States. So, due to this, I didn't know how to cope when I started having these bad days. So, after about a week or two of stressing myself out and crying a lot of tears, I decided it was time for me to reach out. I reached out to the advisor. We decided to see what ways I could receive help to I could receive help and what ways I could help myself ease my anxieties and also feel more comfortable. So I will say that IPO quite literally saved my life. Spoiler alert, IPO kept me from coming home earlier than the early that I came home. Because COVID made me come home early, but I wanted to come home before because I was really sad. Like, really. Our goal at the International Programs Office is to make sure that when you get abroad, you have an experience like I did, where you know exactly who to contact for help and you trust the source to be able to help you, even though they may be a country away. Super happy that you guys tuned in. I'm happy that you made it to the end of the story. That's my bad days abroad.